so you've got some college, so one of the big things, so if Wyatt and Giacomo are interested in Ferrum, so in Wyatt's case, he doesn't really need to apply this year. But I wanna talk to you more about that dual enrollment possibility, cause if he loves criminal justice, has he had some through LUOA? Or is he focusing on general studies kinds of things?
He had his first classes that he took 2 this summer, and one of them was his introductory government class, which started a criminal justice program. So this year he'll only have a few high school level classes, and he'll start hitting the dual enrollment classes. In the senior year, it's almost all dual enrollment.
Well, we may be able to save you some money with him if you're willing to have him drive to campus and take some in person. So
Okay.
I'll help to identify those. It will matter a little bit where he decides to go to school, because with Ferrum, so one of the things for any dual enrollment opportunity is transferability of the credits.
Right.
Every 4-year school is very open to having 2-year school credits transfer into them, because we have to be friendly with the community colleges. Some 4-year schools are less friendly with their peers.
Right.
Ferrum and Liberty play pretty well together. I don't have a lot of experience with Ferrum students going to Liberty and how those credits transfer. The couple that I've had a good experience. They didn't lose very many credits. Students from Liberty coming to Ferrum, we honor those credits really well. My daughter did 2 years at Giacomo and Marina. She did 2 years at Ferrum and then transferred to Belmont University, and she very wisely hasn't let me see her Belmont transcript, because I would be she lost some credits in transfer, and it's a highly specialized program that she definitely wanted because it's in Nashville, kind of related to what Giacomo wants to do. So she's not happy to lose the credits, but she's just gonna power through, and it'll end up, in her case, she'll have an extra semester of study because of in part, she changed programs and also because of the lost things. So there's, as you're investing in those classes, doing as much research ahead of time as possible, just ask the question, will this transfer other places? A lot of times we can't answer that, but like in the case of a criminal justice introductory class, we can say, this is a class that every school has and it's probably going to transfer. We can never promise, but pretty close. So in Giacomo's case, after September 1st, we should have our new vice president for enrollment and marketing should have gotten his rules worked out, so the application should go through. Then really it's kind of a waiting game. You want to wait until after you file your federal taxes for this year. Then you can complete the FAFSA process. Stands for federal application, free application for federal student aid. If you follow the news this year, the federal government changed that entire process, and they launched an imperfect process for being able to award that. So every college and university in the country is scrambling right now to get students financial aid packaged because the government messed up the paperwork stuff.
Economy surprise.
It's been an amazing year in the worst possible way. But even if, and I know being Christian heritage families, you may be the type that can pay the tuition, or you may be the type that's on scholarship. It really doesn't matter, because no matter where your family is financially, you want to do that FAFSA, because every single school that you apply to will give you some form of aid. Sometimes it'll be based off of your income, so it'll be called need-based aid. Sometimes it'll be based off their academic performance, so that would be merit-based aid. If Giacomo's not an athlete, if Wyatt's going to do anything athletic, he's a runner, right?
Yeah, he runs and
Well, he did last
So
year.
if he wants to do cross country in school, sometimes that'll FAFSA.
We're already doing that.
Already doing FAFSA.
Well, it's and depending on how many credits he's taking, they might have aid for you.
Good, sir.
Yeah.
Is this FAFSA something that can be applied? Is there a specific website, or we do it through the
I
website?
I think it's FAFSA.gov.
Yeah.
It's the whole.
Actually, if you go to your parent portal and go to the financial, you can get to it through that, I think.
Through, which
You
is
can
the
do it
The
first
parent, the CHA parent portal,
Okay.
I think.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it's there.
okay, I appreciate it, thank you, sir.
And you may be able to file now based on last year's tax return, but in terms of going to college next year, you wanna wait for this year's,
After tax.
after your taxes.
Okay.
And then, it's always helpful to connect with the specific academic program that they're interested in. One of the things that this new VP is likely to do is to have, program-specific scholarships. So like when Emily gets to know Giacomo and she decides that he's amazing because he is, she might decide that she needs him for his instrument capability in this performing group, and she might have $1,000 a semester or something like that that can be on top of the other aid he gets. So and that's, you don't want to come in there with a handout, but making those connections means that sometimes they'll do those kinds of things for you. And like in Wyatt's case, I don't think the criminal justice program will be heavily recruiting students. But again, if he's interested in cross country, one of the things Ferrum announced this past year, we're going to be in Division II NCAA school starting next year, which means that there are athletic scholarships available.
Okay.
And they're going to be fairly competitive, but at the same time, the coaches are going to want to. One of the requirements that I like about Division II is they have to have a good academic profile for their players. So if they go for this amazing runner that's got a 2.7 GPA, then they need a decent runner that's got a 4.0 so that it averages out on their team. So that's there's a lot of possibility there. Ferrum also has a track and field team that he might plug into for some distance sprinting or those kinds of things. Yeah, and one thing I mentioned earlier, in our old financial aid model, the college gave, they called it a visit scholarship. So just by going to a black and gold day or something like that and touring campus, that can affect your financial aid package. And one thing that, since I took my name tag off, you almost always want to say, basically, is that the best you can do with any school?
Right.
Is there any way you can give us more? And I mean, don't put on a torn shirt and drive your beat car. Like you don't have to do like the used car salesman thing, but really, one of the things that's to your advantage and to my advantage, because I have children of approximately the same age as yours, is nationally there are fewer college students graduating from high school this year than the year before, and that's going to be true for the next several years. So it is a buyer's market on the student side. And some of the big, like Liberty loves advertising on the journey, get frozen tuition for the 5th year straight or whatever. They can afford to do that because of their size. Smaller schools like Ferrum, we actually decreased our tuition last year because it is so competitive for us to get students. And our financial aid people, our admissions counselors, they will work as hard as they can to help identify things. Ferrum's got a program that they just started called Earn to Learn. Since John works at Bojangles, if he puts $500 in a special savings account, this foundation will match that money and turn it into $2,500, just magically. No strings attached. It's not a loan. It's not. So it's called, yeah, and they'll talk when it gets to that point. Hopefully, it'll be grown by then. But that's kind of thing that schools like Ferrum work really hard to make that stuff work.
Is it something that's just for students or for students at Ferrum, correct?
So that partnership is just students at Ferrum, but
Okay.
as you look at other schools, they may have similar kinds of programs. When you talk to the admissions person from Virginia Western Community College, they have a program that we can't beat. The CCAP program is, if they qualify, it's tuition free. Now, if he's already got a bunch of dual enrollment, it might not benefit him that much.
Right.
But still, if you're willing to let him commute to Roanoke, it's a deal. But Ferrum, again, last year, and they're going to continue honoring it, they have a program called the Panther Promise. And that one does depend on your income level. So once you've completed your FAFSA, and I don't remember the initials, but there's this metric that they calculate. It used to be called estimated family contribution, basically how much they think your family can afford based on how many children you have at home and all this other stuff. If you're in a certain range, it's a grant, and it, so you don't have to repay it, and it covers part of tuition. The other thing that Virginia residents qualify for is the Virginia Tuition Assistance Grant, and that'll be at any private college, so Ferrum and Liberty will both have that. And I think that's up to $5,000 a year or something like that, so it really makes a big difference. And for people in a certain income range, your student can go to Ferrum for out-of-pocket to no tuition cost. The only thing that would cost you would be fees, textbooks, and then if they're gonna live on campus, the room and board kinds of things. Ferrum works really hard, because we know we can't compete with CCAP, but we work really hard to make it competitive with other schools.
So just to put it to perspective, my nephew's going this year, and what they originally told him his tuition would be, they got an email like, I don't know, 3 weeks before. Yeah, 3 weeks before he was gonna have to, decide anything definite for college for this year, and it was at least half left. So his college tuition is $6,000
For the year.
for the year.
Wow.
Oh,
That's basically what I paid to go to Virginia Tech many years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and his parents can't afford to pay for it.
Yeah,
So
but
and that's the thing.
it's all
So
us.
it's
That's us.
6,000. Yeah.
And he knows that. We
Right.
said we'll pay for your school,
Yeah.
kindergarten through 12th grade. You gotta work really hard.
Yep.
So that you can try to get as free a ride as you can get on your
And my daughter, my daughter,
she's
she's amazing at it. Like maybe at some point I'll have her come in, but she's an RA this year at Liberty. But we told ours the same thing. It's all on you. We're not putting anything into it. And LU owed her $45 this year.
I mean, I heard you mentioning 6,000. Basically, 6,000 is like the tuition here. I mean, a little
Right.
bit more, but
And it can be very comparable.
so anyways, just
Yeah.
to hear like, sorry, I always talk about numbers because
Oh, you're a finance guy.
Can you
let's say
also,
so.
and I don't know if this is still true, but sometimes stay away from early enrollment? Is that still true?
It'll depend on the school.
Okay.
Fair doesn't matter. We're
Okay.
rolling admission anyway.
Okay.
But that's the part about what else can you do for me? Sometimes holding out a little while, you might be able to get some more aid. And like in Ferrum's case, we're not going to turn people away until pretty late. Like this year, we only students that really didn't qualify academically were not admitted because the feds had messed things up so badly that we just needed the students, and we'll see how that plays out at midterm time. But yeah, especially the really competitive state schools use early admission to basically streamline their classes and to get the kinds of students that they want. So they're not, they tend not to package those early admits as competitively as they do general admission. But if they are that competitive, you're not guaranteed to get in. So that's kind of, we're a Christian heritage. We need to trust God's leading on things. If they know where they want to go, then they should pray to God over those barriers and work hard so that they have what they need to pay for it. Like in my daughter's case, when she was getting ready to transfer, she worked 2 jobs all summer last year. She wrote a check for her tuition.
That's what.
And
Yeah.
all we've done is paid her room and board because we figured she'd be living with us or she'd be living there, and that's how important it is to her. She's done it.
And see, that's Elizabeth paid for her first year because she worked full time while doing the dual enrollment at LU, and she did that for I think a year and a half, and she could pay. And I think she owed her first year maybe like 12 or 13 or something, and she paid for it because she worked. And then this year she didn't have to worry about it. So.
And most schools, so again, depending on your FAFSA, the score that results, most schools as a part of your overall financial aid package, they might be eligible for what's called federal work study.
Yeah.
So again, this is a certain amount of money that comes from the federal government to the institution, but it can be applied as financial aid. So they work and they get paid, but the money goes straight to their tuition.
Yeah, and that's only on campus.
Right.
I did that every time I went to school, but
I did too.
he's,
Yeah, I did it
he's
too.
not, he's gonna live with us.
Well, and in my case, well, no, you don't have to live on campus to be a
Really,
work
that's
study.
what they told us though, when we were there.
Well,
They may
it
change.
depends on the job.
Okay,
And it depends on the financial aid package too.
Okay.
Like, in my case, I was never eligible for federal financial aid because my dad made too much money, even though I have 3 younger brothers, and so that's all the whole thing. But I was able to get, like, at some schools, sometimes they're horrible jobs. Mine was a night monitor job. I sat, this is before swipe cards on residence halls, I sat in the lobby of the dorm from midnight to 7 a.m. and let the drunk people in, if they lived there. And that, but I got paid minimum wage to do it, and between the hours of 2:30 in the morning and about 5, everybody was either passed out or asleep, and I could get my homework done.
Yeah.
So both of your sons are the type that are gonna work, they're gonna find a way to make it. And there are, unfortunately, this generation seems not to generally want to step up to opportunity. So that, like, last year we had about half of our on-campus jobs unfilled because students wouldn't apply for them. There was money sitting there for them. Now, I've been told that this year it's better. I'll believe that when I see it. Have I hit most of the main stuff, I think?
I guess maybe going over when they can enroll.
So again, and this is, I tried to work with Mr. Smallwood to come up with a generic thing that worked for all CHA students, but especially you juniors and seniors, you're doing so many different things depending on your child's specific things. There's not like, I couldn't create a college level English class that all CHA students could drive out and take together. But so the college has that program. In the 11th and 12th grade year, any student that can get there physically can take an on-campus class tuition free. Typically it's like we'll do an English 111 or English 112, but if they've already got college credit and they need a prerequisite, it can be anything. So this semester, I've got one in English 111, one in English 100, which was, they just weren't confident in their writing skills, so they're taking, it still counts for college credit, but it's before freshman English, sort of developmental. One's taking pre-calc, one's taking biology 111, because they want to go to nursing, one's taking chemistry. And I for that one, that is my official job, since we don't have a dual enrollment coordinator. I supervise the registrar's office, so I shepherd those students into exactly what placements they get. Since you're at a Christian private school, I'm very sensitive to which of our instructors I connect your students to. We don't have people that are really gross in the classroom, but there are some that are more welcoming of Christian students and some that are a little less welcoming, and I try to be careful with that. We're not an institution like Liberty that requires a signed statement of faith from all of our staff, so we're a little more open to those kinds of things. But me personally, I try to help with preferences, and even to the point of if they'd rather have a male teacher or a female teacher, I can usually accommodate that.
And then how many classes can they take too?
So it's one per semester.
One per
for free.
semester,
And the part-time tuition is something that's still a matter of debate because of our previous vice president for enrollment management. So when things get cleaned up, like if we're talking about for the spring, it may be that a second class is actually pretty affordable too. I don't want to know what you pay for LU online, but it may be comparable to that amount. And we also have online classes that we have access to, both taught by our faculty and taught by faculty at other institutions. For a 3-credit class, that costs $730 a semester. So it's pretty affordable on the wide market. And then those all come in as Ferrum credits, and we make sure that they fit in with the student's plan of study, unless they just want to learn something interesting.
Talking about dual enrollments, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know how much.
So I looked at his schedule.
You found it?
I looked at his schedule. Unfortunately, the way that it works out, it would be very hard. Is it still the same Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes, Tuesday, Thursday?
For the most part.
he might be able to do a Tuesday, Thursday class if there was something like
When's
at
it
an,
done?
I'd have to pull it up. What's, well, I
The
thought,
latest time slot for a normal class, so there is a psychology class being taught from 5 to 6:20 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
oh, well, he could do those. I mean,
She's a really good teacher too. And then there's the latest other time slot on Tuesdays and Thursdays is 2:25 to 3:45. So he'd have to be done at 2 o'clock here to be able to get out there in time.
What day was that?
Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, the latest time slot is 2
Don't even say it because his Wednesdays are completely,
for church, yeah.
yeah, he's got chapel practice and he's got church at night. He doesn't, Wednesdays he doesn't even, it's this one day on his work schedule, he's just like,
Yes, he never does.
not
I mean,
even, not even this summer, he's like.
He put like the Sunday as a
So he,
possible potential working day
His
because
Wednesdays.
basically he goes to
He's
the
got
early
practice here.
church service, he plays in the band, he stays for the second service, and sometimes he starts working at 1, so he gets off like after the second service.
All night.
We have lunch early lunch together, and then we go our way, like old folks, and we go to work.
You go home for your nap.
so,
Well, I don't know,